What is up, everybody? Welcome to Football Diehards. We have week 16 here. I'm here with Jamie. Jamie, what is up? You looking forward to this week?
It's been a fun leading up to it, but always looking forward to DFS. December has been incredibly lucrative for me. I don't know about you, but of course, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just Christmas yesterday, kind of busy yesterday, but was able to look into everything early this morning. And there's a lot of news that we need to talk about that happened throughout the week. A lot of things that opened up, and can't wait to break it all down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm honestly not sure which way I'm going to go yet. So, hopefully as we talk it out, maybe some answers will become clearer. But we got some serious values all around and in good spots too.
Yes, it is. It is definitely crazy this week. But I say we jump right into it here. We'll start with the very first game. We have the Giants going against the Eagles. I'll let you kick this one off. What are you looking at on this game here?
So I said this. I was on yesterday afternoon on the Christmas Day show with the Football Diehards, and the thing that I'm doing in tournaments, I don't think I'm doing anything in this game in cash, although Jalen Hurts obviously is one of the top cash plays at quarterback. One thing that I wanted to kind of bring up as a fun thing, when we think of tournament stacks, we think of passing stacks, but I think this is like a prime opportunity to use a rushing stack. With Philadelphia, they lead the league in rush percentage. Giants have given up the 9th most fantasy running back points. They give up the 6th most rushing yards to quarterbacks. Miles Sanders has quietly averaged 7 yards per carry almost since he's come back. So I kind of like, as a strategy in tournaments, going Hurts, Sanders, and the Eagles defense to correlate, because they're going to overwhelm that offensive line and Jake Fromm with their pass rush. So I think that's a really good kind of contrarian stack to go. And then obviously Jalen Hurts is a QB1 all season long in fantasy, and he's priced pretty friendly. So if you want to get up in that range in cash, you can certainly use him.
Yep, I totally agree with you. I think Hurts is a very good play this week. 6,400 probably seems a little bit too cheap, and I like that Sanders call as well. I don't think Sanders is going to be that high owned, especially with Jackson there, and then Ronald Jones being the top 2 highest owned running backs. Looks like Sanders is coming in as the 6th. So, I like the matchup. Like you said, Sanders has been looking really good as of late. I don't hate that. Also don't hate Dallas Goedert as well, 5,100. There's a lot of cheap tight ends that stick out this week, unlike last week. So I'm probably going to punt down at tight end, but if I was to pay up, he would be one of the guys I'd be looking at. So, I think there's a lot to look at on the Eagles side there. On the Giants side, don't really like a ton here. I think Barkley's interesting at 6,500, but there's guys I like that are cheaper, so don't know how much I'm going to get there. I think Evan Ingram is also interesting, 3,400. The Eagles have given up the most DraftKings points to opposing tight ends, so I don't hate Evan Ingram, but I think that's about all I'm looking at. On the Giants side, what are you looking at there?
I think I'm probably with you. You're right. That's, if any Giant has a matchup, it's Ingram there. Kadarius Toney's back. I would like to think he's fun, but they haven't shown any aptitude in how to use him yet. And now another new quarterback. So, with his kind of burst, he's going to have no ownership at all in a tournament. So I don't hate it, but I'm probably not going to do it.
Yeah, I feel it there. But I think we covered about everything. Was there anything else that stuck out to you in this game?
No, not really. The receivers for Philadelphia have an okay matchup too, but I would prefer Goddard, like you said there, and he's cheaper anyway, and he's been the main guy for Hurts. And it's just that they rush, they're a running team, so I don't really see the upside in like passing stacks in this game outside of Goddard.
Yep, I totally agree there, but let us move on to the next game. We have Minnesota going against the Rams. I'll let you kick this one off on the Rams side. What are you looking at?
This is the fun one, really, for, full stack appeal on both sides. For the Rams, I can't imagine that we're both not locking in Kupp to our cash and the majority of GPPs at his price tag, right? He's he's going to break records for receptions and receiving yards this year. His average is 8.7 catches and 116 yards per game, and he's averaging a touchdown per game. Minnesota's given up the most fantasy points per game to wide receivers. So, I mean, he's got to be in your lineup. And then pairing him with Stafford is great too, because I said this on the radio yesterday as well. Stafford has the highest quarterback rating in the league against the blitz, and Minnesota blitz is at the third highest rate. So, with that plus their banged up secondary, I mean, Stafford to Kupp is easy, and then you can use Odell or Van Jefferson as a double stack there if you want to, go for that deep ball against the blitz as well.
Yep, I like it. I think that's a great tournament stack there. Yeah, it's for cash. I think Kupp is about a lock. 9,100, arguably probably too cheap. Great matchup against Minnesota. Yeah, definitely do like Kupp there. Don't know what I'm doing yet in cash in terms of quarterback, but I think I'm going to go 4 wide receivers this week. There's 4 wide receivers that I really do like this week, and Kupp is definitely one of them. So yeah, definitely going to have Kupp in there. On the Minnesota side, I think Madison does stick out. Obviously, Cook is not going to play this week, so Madison 6,800 looks to be a solid spot there. Don't know if I'll get there in cash, but I think tournaments Madison makes for a very intriguing play.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking at his ownership as we're talking right now. Right now, he's in my cash. I kind of have to see that. Like you said, it depends what I want to do at quarterback. I mean, there's an extreme punt at quarterback, which we'll get into later, who is currently in my placeholder as quarterback. I don't know if I'm going to finish there, but if I do go him, I'll be certainly using Madison because it's easy money to get up to him there with other running back values and a couple of wide receiver values that have popped up too, and then tight end punts, like you said, as well.
Yep, for sure. But yeah, I think that's about it. Anything you like on the Minnesota side? You like Jefferson, Thielen, any of those guys?
Yeah, I liked Jefferson a little more before Thielen came back, because Thielen being back is kind of another weapon. I assume Jalen Ramsey is going to cover Jefferson. Jefferson is a bet on talent play though. He's had double-digit targets in I think 6 of his last 7 games. So I mean, he certainly can be used in any format. I don't see myself getting there in cash, but if I'm doing a Ram stack in tournaments, I'm certainly bringing it back with either Madison or Jefferson. And then I like Sony Michel in this game too. I think people are all wrapped up in Cam Akers being activated, but he's not going to play today. And, Michel, it was the running back 1 last week with Henderson healthy and active. I mean, Michel still had 20 touches and a 73% snap share. And Minnesota gives up a lot of points to the run as well. So I kind of think he's getting lost in the mix with this thing. So I like him in that mid to high 5K range, a running back for tournaments as well.
Yeah, that's pretty sneaky there. Yeah, Cam Akers is definitely out. So yeah, that could be something interesting. Looks like he is taking over the backfield. I also don't mind some shots on Odell Beckham Jr. and Van Jefferson. They are Jefferson's 5,500 and then Beckham's 5,300. Not going to go there in cash, but I think tournaments sprinkling them is not a bad option there. But I think that's about it for this game. Anything else you like in here?
No, I think that's probably kind of got the way you should be going with this one. Play Cooper Kupp, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah. Play all the Cooper Kupp. There we go. All right, we'll move on to the next game. We have a Buffalo going against New England. On the Buffalo side, a couple things do stick out. So Gabriel Davis is going to not play. Beasley is going to not play. That leaves Diggs, Sanders, and McKenzie is 3K minimum. I like Diggs, especially 7,600, and then also McKenzie 3,000. I think is a very intriguing punt. Those are the 2 guys I'm looking at. Don't hate stacking them with Josh Allen as well. Not the best match in the world, but I think it's a pretty solid play and pretty solid way to go. Who are you liking on the Bill side? Are you liking Diggs and McKenzie as well? And any Sanders this week?
Yeah, you know what's funny here is I don't really know what I'm doing with this yet. I mean, you would think with those 2 guys out, it just opens up such extreme value here. I'm I mean, Diggs would seem to be a smash play with the targets coming, but I'm not really trusting the offense against this Bills defense. I mean, so far Belichick has completely known how to stop Josh Allen. So I don't think I'm going to find myself paying up for Diggs. I think the way that I'll get exposure to this game is Sanders and McKenzie, with actually McKenzie being the favored play for me at the minimum. He has a track record of being productive in the slot when Beasley has not played for them. So that's kind of the route I'm going on DraftKings with that PPR. I mean, I think he could get that, 5 catches, 50 yards for 3,000 is more than enough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's 3K. You don't really need much. Taking a look at the ownership, if I can find it, but you got to imagine McKenzie's going to have some ownership here. Let me take a look. If you see it, you can call it out there. I don't see it. Do you?
What was that?
Who
was that again?
McKenzie's ownership.
I see him. He's down here at 46th, 1.86%.
That's low.
I think that's a result too of a couple of other ones that we haven't discussed yet, being certainly higher owned, who I see all higher owned than this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that have opened up. Yeah. Looks like Diggs is not getting any ownership as well, 23rd. 4% owned for Diggs. That's interesting as well.
Yeah. And I think it's the matchup. I think the matchup is scaring people away a little bit, rightfully so, and comparably priced guys like, you mentioned Diggs with, compared to Keenan Allen, like with the Chargers being mixed up. I mean, I'd rather have Allen. I think that's the reason. But the Bills, I admit the Bills have puzzled me a little this week because I thought I'd be all over them with those guys being out, but I'm just not as excited about them as I feel like I should be.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have any of them in cash at the moment, but on the Patriots side, not a ton sticks out as well. Looks like Stevenson is not going to play. That opens up some things for Harris, 5,600, but not the best matchup in the world. And there are some other guys I like that are like a little bit cheaper. So I don't know how much I'm going to get to Harris, but he was one of the guys that did stick out to me.
Yeah, same thing. I don't really see using anyone on the Patriots side either because they also have a tough matchup against the Bills defense. Bills have been susceptible to the run lately, and I assume that Belichick will exploit that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, there's in that 5,600. I can name 5 guys right now off the top of my head that I'd rather have more in that range. So I don't think I'm going to get there either.
Yep, looks like we're on the same page. Not a ton in this game, but I'm more interested probably on the Bills side there. But we'll move on to the next game. We have Tampa Bay going against Carolina. I'll let you kick this one off. What are you looking at here on the Tampa Bay side?
Well, Tampa Bay, this is an interesting one too. We're missing Fournette, Godwin, and Mike Evans. What does that mean? That means you really have to play Antonio Brown at 4,900. He's a lot more accurately priced on FanDuel at 7,000, but I mean he's one of the better values there too. Even if he's he's got issues of his own, but they have to play him every down here. And his ownership is reflecting of that. He's currently tied with Cooper Kupp for the highest owned receivers on our projections, and I'm not fading away from that in cash. It's not a gimme matchup either. The other way, Gronk as well is someone at 6,200. You got to give a serious look to. I mean, he had 11 targets last week when those guys went down. He's currently coming in as our highest owned tight end. 6,200 is priced up, but really not. Given what the role that he's sure to get from this game is. That's a pretty good price tag for him as well. And the one that I'm calling, I called it on the radio. I did it on Twitter too. So Cameron Breit, who has no ownership right now in our projections, is quietly fourth in the NFL in red zone targets. He's got tied for third, not fourth. He's got more than Kelsey. He's got more than Waller. He's got more than Pitts. And that's with all those guys healthy. The top three guys on the Bucs in red zone targets are Fournette, Godwin, and Evans. All three are out. I've banked Cameron Breit scoring a touchdown, and I said if he doesn't score 2, I will Venmo someone $5. So Breit is my tournament call of the week here at 2,500.
I like it. You think he's going to score not only once but twice?
What's that?
I think he's going to score not only once but twice.
Yep, Breit twice this week. My bold call of the week, maybe the year.
That is awesome. I like it. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm all over Brown, 4,900. He's coming in the second highest owned wide receiver, rightfully so. The price tag, like even if like Evans was playing, Antonio Brown at 4,900 is just way too low. And then on top of that, Evans is out. So yeah, all over Brown here, 4,900, and then also Ronald Jones, 5,100. He's coming in at the second highest owned running back, and rightfully so. 5,100 is just way too cheap for him, especially without Fournette there. So yeah, really high on Jones, high on Brown. Don't mind some Gronk if I can get there as well, 6,200. And then also, I think Ty Johnson could be interesting, 3,900. But he'd be the other like punt I'd be looking at. But yeah, going to have a ton of exposure to this game. Like you said, not the best matchup in the world, but since all these guys are out, they're going to get a lot of opportunity.
Yep. And I forgot about Tyler Johnson too, and that's fine. He's best bet to replace Godwin in that slot role. So, I mean, sure, throw him in there. And it's Brady. Brady makes winners out of everybody, especially with time to coach with them or to practice with them for the week. How about Carolina? Are we going with anyone there?
I mean, there's just not anybody I really like here. I mean, DJ Moore could be interesting. 5,700. He's cheap. Could be I think he'd be the one guy I'd look at for a run back option is DJ Moore, but that's about it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not interested in the running game, especially in this matchup. And Robbie Anderson, it comes alive once every couple of weeks, but he's too untrustworthy, and that offense has just been crumbling lately. So yeah, DJ Moore or nobody really.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But yeah, lots of interest on the Bucs side. We'll keep moving it on. To Jacksonville going against New York Jets. I'll let you kick this one off. What do you like in this game here?
James Robinson. We bet on Darrell Bevell calling his shot last week with Robinson. And Robinson had 84% of the snaps and 21 touches. And did exactly what Bevell said they were going to do with him. Carlos Hyde's on IR, so he's not coming back. And now it's the Jets who are on pace to give up the most fantasy points per game to running backs in history, plus 24 touchdowns so far. So he's my RB1 overall this week in my rankings. So I'm not fading him in anything.
I like it. Yep. Was high on Robertson last week and going to be even more high on him this week. He's coming in the fourth projected highest owned running back at 12%. And yeah, you mentioned it. Great matchup against the Jets. The Jets have given up the most DraftKings points to opposing running backs, and Robinson is way too cheap. I'm not sure why they didn't price him up more. This price tag still makes no sense. Last week it was 5,400, which was insane, and this week it's 5,900, which is still very insane considering the matchup. So yeah, I'm right there with you all over James Robinson. The other guy I was looking at on Jacksonville, if anything, I think O'Shaughnessy could be a decent punt tight end. There are a couple guys down in that same range that I don't hate, but he could be one of them. And then also don't mind some Jaguars defense at 2,700. But that's about all I'm looking at on the Jacksonville side there. Anything else stick out to you?
No, Laviska Shenault is on the COVID list. So, same as the Bills, I thought that I would kind of gravitate a little more to someone like Laquan Treadwell is 3,500 there. But I just don't seem to be doing it. I mean, I think it's like you said, O'Shaughnessy is the passing game piece that I'd want. And it's just, I just want more Robinson then. So I don't really see playing much in the Jacksonville passing game.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And then on the other side, on the Jets, I think the only guy that does stick out is going to be Berrios. It looks like, we're not going to have Moore. We're not going to have Crowder. More than likely is doubtful. And then obviously no Corey Davis. So that's going to leave Berrios there, 3,500. And he is gaining a ton of ownership, projected to be the third highest owned wide receiver, 18%.
Yeah, that was a surprising one, but I mean, the Jets are trotting out Berrios, Mims, and Keelan Cole against Jacksonville. And we've already seen some chemistry with Zach Wilson and Berrios in that slot role. So he's kind of like, that McKenzie play that I talked about, where I think at 3,500 you can kind of hopefully safely expect 5 catches, 50 yards there if he doesn't score. So it's a nice value piece for sure.
Yep, definitely a ton of value. I don't know how much I'm going to have of him. The ownership definitely scares me a little bit. That's a lot for Braxton Berrios.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I mean, I think you put him into, if you need a cash value and that's the cheap wide receiver you want to go, I think that's fine. But I don't really see the need to play him in tournaments at that ownership. I mean, he doesn't have game breaking upside. Plus, he's heavily owned. That's really not a tournament play in my eyes.
Yeah, like even like Laquan Treadwell, he's the same price, and he's only 7% owned. I think I might rather just take a shot on Treadwell.
Yeah, I'd take Isaiah McKenzie over him as well in that price range. And then the other guy who for the Chargers who we haven't even gotten to yet.
Yeah, anybody in the run game for the Jets, I'm probably staying far, far away from it.
No, most likely not. I don't really see the need. I mean, Carter's price tag is okay, but the same idea as before. I mean, there's other 5 to 6K running backs that I'd much rather have than him.
Yep, right there with you. We'll keep moving on to the next game, though. We have Detroit going against Atlanta. And yeah, not a ton sticks out to me in this game. I guess the one piece that I don't hate is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5,600. Gets a great matchup here against Atlanta. In his last 3 games, 11 targets against Arizona, 12 targets against Denver, 12 targets against Minnesota. So they're getting him the ball and getting him the ball a lot. And on top of that, he's going to have a very, very good matchup here against Atlanta. They have priced him up. He was 5,200 last week. He was 5,000 back in week 14. But I think the price changing is warranted here. So yeah, I might take some shots on Amon-Ra St. Brown this week.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I'd feel a lot better about it if Jared Goff was playing.
Yes.
Have you heard if he is or is not? I don't know if we saw that. I thought I saw he was closer to doubtful last time.
It looks like he's not. No.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, he's still a slot receiver like that isn't really as quite affected by the quarterback as some other pass catchers there. So I think he'll still get, the most targets on that team in the passing game, especially that they've schemed him that way. So I'm fine with it. I just don't love him as much as I did if Goff had been playing. How about the Atlanta side? Is there anyone on this side? I mean, it's a great matchup again for them too, but they haven't seemed to break the slate with any pieces in that individually there.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's nothing I really like. I don't really want to mess around with the run game, although it's such a great matchup. But 6,700 for Patterson, I don't know. And then it's just hard to trust any of these receiving options. Russell Gage is always so inconsistent. Pitts could be interesting, 5,800, but yeah, there's just not a ton I like on this Atlanta side.
Yeah, you mentioned Gage. You're right. I mean, like the bottom could fall out any time with him is the only thing that worries me. But I will say that over the past 5 games, he's averaged 8.8 targets, and it's a good matchup. So they're just such 2 bad offenses that I don't really. I mean, I'm okay with playing him, but I'm probably not going out of my way for it.
Yeah, and it looks like the Falcons defense is getting a lot of ownership. The first projected highest owned defense, 2,600. Are you playing any Falcons this week?
Yeah, I do have them scattered. I think if you're playing cash and you want the cheap one, they are the one to use. I think this is a week, though, that you can actually get up to someone higher if you're comfortable enough with that. But if you need all the money you can for skill positions and you want to save down on defense, I think Atlanta's the logical play.
Yep, with you there. But yeah, not a ton sticks out in this game. Was there anything we missed, or you think we got it all?
No, I think we got it all in this one. We can move on.
All right. Next game we have the Chargers going against the Texans, and this is pretty crazy because I have a lot of interest in this game, like a ton, but it's all on the Chargers side. So at quarterback, I think Justin Herbert's very interesting. He's 7,200, a very consistent guy, with a great matchup against Houston. And then the big news this week: Austin Eckler is not going to play. That opens up a lot of things for Justin Jackson. He's 4,200. And obviously he's gaining a ton of ownership, and rightfully so. So yeah, really like Herbert at quarterback, really like Jackson at running back. And then on top of that, we are missing Guyton, and then we're also missing Mike Williams. So that's going to open a lot of things with Keenan Allen at 7,700, who I really like this week. And then also I like Joshua Palmer, who is 3,300 as another cheap option at wide receiver. And then on top of that, I like Jared Cook, 3,500 at tight end. Great matchup against Houston. Houston has given the second most DraftKings points to opposing tight ends, and obviously we don't have Parm as well. So yeah, I like, and even like the Chargers defense, 3,400. I'll add them in there as well. So basically, I like the whole Chargers team this week. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think you said it. You said it the best there. The Palmer is we got him high owned. I assume we do. I haven't checked it yet. I don't see him on here. I assume it's going to be. I can't find him. I assume it's going to be gaining fast here. He's a big value sleeper. Of all the cheap guys we've talked about, he's definitely my favorite in this offense. Herbert without Eckler now, he's going to throw the ball. I think even if they blow him out, which I don't think is going to happen as much. With all those guys missing. But I mean, he's thrown the ball. There's only one game he's thrown the ball under 35 times this year. So that passing floor is great for him. And then with that condensed offense, even better. And I think without Eckler, we'll focus a little more on that pass. I do like Josh Jackson, Justin Jackson, who we can talk about in a second. But yeah, that passing game has so much appeal. So I agree with you there. Before we get to Jackson, is there anyone on the Houston side that you're bringing that back with if you're stacking them?
No, I mean, there's really not. Because you take a look at it, and looks like Cooks is out, right? So Cooks would always be that one Houston guy that I would look at using. And even last week he had 32 DraftKings points, but now that Cooks is gone, I just absolutely don't know who to play.
No, there's really nobody to me there. If we have to absolutely pick, I mean, Nico Collins, I guess, is the number one wide receiver there now with Cooks out. Joey Bosa not playing in this game also for the Chargers should hurt their pass rush enough to get that deep ball to Collins, but I don't know. I feel like that's grasping a little bit. So I think you're fine to go heavy on the Chargers side and not really worry about Houston coming back.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to do, and even maybe add the Chargers D in there at 3,400. Just I think it's such a great matchup there. But yeah, I mean, lots of interest in this game. I think we covered it about all. Is there anything we missed in this game?
Well, did we get to Jackson?
I touched on him a little bit. You want to talk about him a little bit more? Are you liking him in cash?
Yeah, I think you have to play him in cash at 42. I mean, they've been annoying with him. They have other running backs that they can easily go committee if they want. And then, all the passing stuff you described could easily take over as well if they just don't run the ball as much. But I mean, he's 4,200 and he's showing as by far our highest owned running back. Rightfully so. I think it's fine to fade him in GPP because there are routes to downside there, but I mean, he is blowing away the ownership in cash, and I think you follow that there.
Yep, totally agree there. Yeah, I have so many Chargers, it's nuts, but hopefully it does work out. But yeah, Jackson was another guy I was looking at quite a bit. I mean, just way too cheap. Great matchup against Houston. I like it. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Chargers have a great day. We'll move on to the next game. We have Baltimore going against Cincinnati. And yeah, this is a game where just nothing really sticks out. I mean, we see that Jackson's out. Huntley's going to be out. That does open up a interesting punt quarterback in Josh Johnson. Any interest in Josh Johnson at all? He's 4,000. This is a week where there's so much value that I don't think you absolutely need to punt down at quarterback, but he's definitely somebody that does intrigue me a little bit. So, any thoughts on Josh Johnson here?
Yeah, he's in my placeholder right now. And once we're done, this is where I'm going to kind of go all, through all the kind of builds and see which top to bottom one I like better. But yeah, I mean, at 4,000, we had this a few weeks ago with, who was it? Oh, Minshew, when Hurts went out and we had the 4,000 Minshew. And he was, he did more than enough to pay off that price tag. I think Josh Johnson with his rushing ability is in the same kind of scenario here. So absolutely he's in play for all formats, just based on price tag alone. The reason he's in my cash lineup is because he has allowed me to comfortably fit Madison, Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen, and then a couple of other pieces that I liked. So what I'm going to examine is if I'm comfortable enough with that, with, fading like people like Hurts and Stafford, who are technically too cheap as well, with a much higher floor. But I haven't quite made that decision on that. Where are you on Johnson?
Yeah, I don't hate him. He's cheap. It allows you to do a lot of things in your lineup. So I'll definitely mess around with it as well. But yeah, I mean, it's 4,000. You don't need a ton. He has a little bit of rushing upside as well. So yeah, don't hate some Josh Johnson. As far as pairing him with anybody, I think I'd probably just run him by himself. I don't see myself. Yeah, I mean, if Huntley was playing, 7K for Andrews would be well warranted. But without Huntley, I don't know if I'll be able to pay that price tag for Mark Andrews. That's a lot.
Yeah, I agree. At some point, constant quarterback changing has got to affect the receivers a little bit. Even someone like Andrews, who is just one safety blanket after another. I'd rather have Gronk at 800 cheaper.
Yeah, and then Marquis Brown is gaining a lot of ownership. He's 5,800. I don't like that as well. He's coming in at 16% ownership. The fourth projected highest on wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I don't see the need for that at all. I mean, he's of course the upside play if you trust that Johnson can throw the ball deep, but I don't see the need.
Yeah, me as well. Anything on the Bengals side that you're liking?
Yeah, I think they're a sneaky stack. I talked about this earlier in the week, but it never kind of came to any fruition in any lineups or any talk since. But Baltimore's pass defense has just crumbled. They've given up the second highest yards per attempt to quarterbacks, given up the most completions in the league over 20 yards, most completions over 40 yards as well. So, that sets up some potentially low-owned upside, although it's not as low-owned as I thought here. We're looking at Jamar Chase at 8%, T. Higgins around 7%. Still, though, I kind of like that. As a Bengals stack. The problem is, again, I don't really like any bringbacks to it. Yeah, I'm okay with those pieces.
Yeah, I'm with you as well on those. And then also, I think Bengals defense 2,800 could be sneaky. Obviously, no Jackson, no Huntley, Josh Johnson, a quarterback. So I don't mind the Bengals D there at 28.
Yep, I agree. And if you're playing FanDuel, they're basically priced as if Lamar Jackson is the starter. So they're an easy use over there.
I like it. But we'll keep moving on. We have a couple more games to get through here. Looks like Chicago going against Seattle. I'll let you kick this one off. What do you like in this game here?
Well, on the Bears side is interesting here. There's a couple of plays. Nick Foles starting at quarterback kind of threw a bit of a wrench into this because I at least had kind of knew what I was getting if it was Fields. I still like David Montgomery a lot, though. He's really not priced for the role he's gotten lately, which is almost 20 carries plus 6 targets per game. And then going against the Seattle defense, who has given up over 5 yards per carry and the third most fantasy points per game to running backs. I think at 5,700, he's a really solid value. You can play him in cash, but I love him in GPPs. And then Cole Kmet, if you think, he's pretty much now bankable for 5+ targets a game. I don't think that changes with Foles. Actually, I think it probably improves him a little bit if you think that they'll push the pass a little bit more, because Foles is not a running quarterback. So you got to figure that their pass attempts is going to go up in this game. So I definitely like Kmet as one of those cheap tight ends that you talked about earlier. How about you? Where are you on the Bears?
Yeah, I like that. Montgomery call quite a bit. He's somebody I've been looking at all week. A little bit off of him, a little bit lower on him than I was earlier in the week because I like Justin Jackson more. He's 4,200. I like Ronald Jones more. He's 5,100. I like James Robinson more. He's 5,900. So he kind of be that fourth guy there running back for me. So not going to make my cash build, but I think David Montgomery in tournaments for me is going to be very. I'm gonna have a ton of him in tournaments. So he's very cheap. 5,700. He's coming in at the 5th highest projected own running back at 11%. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like David Montgomery a lot, but I do like the other guys around him a little bit more. So out of those 4 guys, Jackson, Jones, Robinson, and Montgomery, would you put Montgomery ahead of any of them, or are you with me that he's like the 4th out of those bunch?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's 4th out of those bunch, which is why he has been kind of the odd man out when deciding of those 3 in cash, if I was going to go that route. As it winds up, I have Madison in instead of Jones also. But yeah, I think you're right on that. If you're in that range and you're looking for 3 of those 4, Montgomery is 4th. But then again, arguably the best tournament play of the 4. So I think we're on the same page there.
Yep, 100%. I think he's a phenomenal play. On the Seattle side, I like Lockett a lot, 6,700, and then also Metcalf. I think both of them are just probably too cheap here. So more so tournament for me, but I think I'm going to sprinkle them both. Any preference on one or the other? You like them both, and then also anything else you like on Seattle side?
I love Lockett. I have Lockett so much in tournaments. I usually play 5 or 6 tournament lineups and on top of my cash, and he's in half of them. He's fully healthy, and the Bears secondary is ridiculous. So I do prefer him, just because they can line him up anywhere. And Metcalf has not been as consistent this year, but yeah, I'm with you that I'm perfectly fine playing either one in tournaments with preference to Lockett. No, I'm not interested in any of the running game.
Yeah, me neither. Lockett coming in at the 14th highest projected owned wide receiver at 7%. That's very intriguing. And then also looks like Metcalf coming in at the 26th projected highest owned wide receiver at 4%. So yeah, not a lot of ownership on these guys.
Yeah, which is part of the appeal there for sure.
Oh yeah, I like it. But yeah, I think that's about it for this game. Was there anything we missed on it?
Well, another thing that we just talked about Montgomery on the other side. Pairing one of those with him in tournaments correlates just beautifully, which is a route that I've been taking to.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So good points there. We'll see what happens. But we have the next game. We have Pittsburgh going against Kansas City. And yeah, lots has opened up in a way this week. Looks like Travis Kelce is going to be out. I think that definitely bumps up Tyreek Hill, 8,400, a guy that I liked already, but especially without any Kelce here, I think Tyreek Hill is in line for a very, very big game here. So Cooper Kupp is going to be first priority for me, but I don't mind some Tyreek Hill at 8,400 as well. I don't mind putting them both in the same lineup. And then also Keenan Allen is somebody else I like up in that range. I like all 3 of those guys a lot. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, especially without any Kelce, he's somebody I'm really, really liking this week. Outside of that, on the Chiefs side, I think it's probably Tyreek Hill. That's where I'm looking at the most. I don't hate some sprinkles on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but there's just so many other pieces I like that are cheaper that we've been talking about. So yeah, it's Tyreek Hill for me on the Chiefs, and that's about it. I don't really want to mess around with any of the backup tight ends there. I'm not sure if you're the same there, but what are you looking at on the Chiefs side here?
Same as you, pretty much exactly the same. As the Kelsey news hits, I'm tweaking lineups to find a way to get more Tyreek Hill in. Have not decided on the route in cash yet on either site. It looks like he'll be easy to fit in to FanDuel, though, alongside Cooper Kupp based on their loose pricing. So I'm certain that I'll be taking that route there. DraftKings is a little bit trickier because probably on DraftKings, because I'm not fading Kupp, probably on DraftKings, if I want a second expensive wide receiver, it'll probably have to be a decision made between Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen. So I haven't yet decided on that one yet. Both I think are elite. And Allen is 700 cheaper, so I may not get up to Hill in cash, but God knows how many targets he's going to get in this game.
Yeah, he can have a huge game here. So that's who I'm looking at on the Chiefs side there. And then on Pittsburgh, it looks like Freiermuth is out, Ebron's out. I don't hate some of their pass catchers. Deonte Johnson, 7,500. Kind of disappointed a little bit last week, only scoring 9.8, but really don't hate going back to him here. Trying to find his ownership. Looks like Deonte Johnson's coming in at the 15th, projected highest on wide receiver at about 7%. So yeah, Johnson looks to be a very intriguing play. And I think Najee Harris as well is a very intriguing play, 7,400. And I'm not paying up a lot at running back. If I will, it will be Madison, and then it'll also be some Najee Harris here. So what are you looking at on the Steelers side as well?
Yeah, the same thing. And Najee Harris and Tyreek Hill, it's an expensive correlation, but it's not hard to fit in to lineups. There's enough. You can play Justin Jackson at running back. Any of those punt wide receivers or punt tight ends we've talked about, it's easy to fit those two in. Either way, Johnson and Hill together, Najee and Hill together, whichever route you prefer as far as game script those. I think that's a smart correlation play as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at the ownership on Najee Harris, but it's probably because there's so many of these cheap running backs that are sticking out. But yeah, Najee Harris coming in at the 10th, projected highest on running back at about 6%.
Yeah, I like that. I like that in tournaments a lot. I mean, he's inefficient behind that offensive line, but they've committed to him. He's well over 85% of snaps every game, which is what you want in fantasy.
Yep, for sure. Don't hate him in some tournaments there. But yeah, I think that's about it. Don't really want to mess around with these Pittsburgh backup tight ends. The Chiefs back. Are you playing any like Blake Bell or like Noah Gray?
No, no, I didn't. I don't see the need to get cute. Breit is the cheap tight end that I'm playing this week. I've fit him in everywhere I can, and I'm standing by that one.
I like it. I like that call. How much does Breit cost? I forget.
He's 2,500.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that. There you go. Same price, so I like it there. So we have one game left. We have Denver going against Las Vegas here. I'll let you kick this one off. What do you like in here in this game?
Not a ton. It's Renfro. I think. Well, all right. I'll talk about the Raiders here, and I'll kind of let you give your take, and then you can get into Denver too. So I mean, we've seen Josh Jacobs with Kenyon Drake out. Josh Jacobs has finally taken on that role where he's used, he's given the bulk of snaps, given the bulk of carries, and he's using the passing game. Only issue with him is, again, he's 6,000, and we've already touched on at least 5 other running backs that are a couple of hundred to 1,000 cheaper that I'd all rather have. So I don't see myself using him in this matchup. And then Renfro, same idea. This is a tougher matchup than he's had lately. Denver has locked down their secondary pretty well. But he's got a 30% target share with Waller out. So his price is on the rise. He's at 6,800, which is a little bit tricky. So I haven't actually got to either one. But I don't argue using either one. Where are you sitting on the Raiders? And then what about Denver?
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary price tag for Renfro because it is definitely getting up there. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's a spot where it's a tough matchup. But yeah, like you mentioned, no Waller is going to help a lot. I don't know how much I'm going to get there, but he's definitely somebody that I did look at. And then also Moreo could be interesting. He is 3,600. I don't hate some shots on him. He's going to be, the lead guy there at tight end, but not completely intrigued with that. Denver is very good against the tight end. Like I think like top five against the tight end. So I don't know how much Maria I'm going to get to. Any interest in Maria?
The same, lukewarm. I mean, he got 9 targets last week. He's not Darren Waller, but he certainly has proven to be a capable target. But like you said, that they're so good against tight ends, and he's 3,600. So you're looking at guys we talked about, like Jared Cook is 3,500, Cole Kmet is 3,300, James O'Shaughnessy's 3,200. I don't really see the need to play him with those guys there.
Yeah, I totally agree there. Yeah, on the Denver side though, don't know if I'll get into these running backs. I think Williams is always very intriguing. It's just hard to play him with Melvin Gordon there. But yeah, great matchup for both of them. So I mean, maybe sprinkle some in tournaments, but I don't know if I'm going to get there. Other than that, nothing really sticks out on the Denver side. Um, yeah, I think it's just the Raiders from year past. Anything you like on the Denver side that I'm missing?
No, no, not particularly. Especially, I don't trust Drew Lock. Um, and that's not really that's not to say that Bridgewater is this world-beating quarterback either, but he's just I was a lot more trustworthy in the receivers with him. Um, and against the Raiders pass rush is top 5 still, so I don't really have any interest in anyone on the Denver side. I think what's funny is you can use either defense in GPP there. I think that's fine, especially what looks to be a little bit low ownership.
Yeah, I think that's fine as well. But yeah, that's what we went through it. We talked it over. Lots of things sticking out. Should be an interesting week, a very fun week as well. Any final thoughts or anything else we missed, Jamie?
No, I don't think so. I mean, be be ready for shenanigans. We got COVID players. Although I don't know, can they do that? They have to be able to do that. Yeah. So just be aware that anything can happen. Don't be married to your lineup until 1 o'clock when it hits, because you got to be able to change, especially now.
Yes. 100%. Always got to keep track of what's going on. But yeah, good luck to you, Jamie. Good luck to everybody. Let's make some money on this Sunday, and then we'll be back next week for week 17.